This morning, the news over there is that Bayern Munich are considering making a swoop for Mason Mount. His contract remains deadlocked, we hear, with Chelsea. The talks, now they're going on, not going on. He's 24. He's got a year remaining on his deal. Chelsea, it's thought, would seek at least, and would be right to do so, I'm sure, something in the region of 50 million for him. And Tuchel is an admirer. Do all roads lead to Munich for Mount?
Well, I think he's obviously an admirer. I think people are putting two and two together and making five in terms of thinking he's walked into Munich and a day or two days later he's dictating who he wants through the door. I mean, let that play out. I think that's just journalists being clever. But it fits the thread of the story here that Chelsea are going to have to get rid of some of their younger players, absolutely, in an effort to balance out FFP regulations. With Mason Mount, there are takers. I understand there's going to be takers, that's for sure. I mean, you're talking about getting him cheaper than you would have to. He's a terrific player. I'm a big fan of Mason Mount. I find it a little bit unfair that the criticism this season is fine because he's had a poor time, as is the team. But 2 out of the last 3 seasons, he's been Player of the Year at Chelsea. He's played in 5 finals.
But you can't live. But surely, Danny, you can't live in the past.
No, but he's only 24. What I'm saying, he's been at a huge club, and for 4 seasons, 3 of them, he's been excellent. And 2 managers, including Gareth Southgate, 3rd manager, tended to pick him nearly every game.
His problem at Chelsea, as far as I understand it, currently with the contractual situation and a potential move away, is that there is some pretty outlandish demands coming in for salary.
I don't think so.
Oh, I do. Well,
you might know more than me, but I doubt it.
How outlandish, Simon?
I think they're in the mid 200,000 plus.
I think the problem is more of a respect thing where he's been offered such a poor deal.
But do you accept the fact that in the mid 200,000 bracket is quite?
I haven't got the numbers.
Salaries?
I don't have the numbers. But what I do hear, and what I
would you accept that as a premise though?
I would be
if those numbers were the numbers. Would you accept that as a premise that that's quite significant wage demands?
Yes, I would. I would agree with
that. And therein lies some of the problems as to the reasons why certain teams can't sign him, and certain teams
I don't see the finances being
a
problem with Mount moving forward. I think he's completely focused on choosing the right club for his football development. That's
where does the respect thing come in that you mentioned? Respect.
Well, I think academy players generally get offered much lesser deals than certain people around them. I think if you're talking about being greedy, where you're talking the numbers,
but we've got Bukayo Saka over at Arsenal having complete contrast to that argument. We're talking about
they're talking about 300,000, aren't they?
Correct, fine. But notwithstanding that, you just said the argument is that academy players get left behind.
Generally, I think it's. So I've been involved in that where you have to earn,
and I agree with that because I've done it myself.
Yeah, you have to earn your right more.
But my understanding of the fact is the lad wants to stay at Chelsea.
I haven't spoken to him,
but he wants the kind of salary that's prohibiting that conversation, and it's also prohibiting moving to other football clubs.
I think his bigger concern is that he hasn't played as much because of the influx of players, and how many more players are going to come, and is he going to get enough game time under the manager with the regime the way it is? I think he's more worried about if he's not going to play regularly, how does he build up the form again to get back into the England side and then win things if you're not playing? Who wants to win things from the bench?
Yeah, but it's whether or not he backs himself, isn't it?
Well, the fact is he's going to have a choice because nearly all the big boys are in for him. And they're all in for him because all managers know football and see what a talent he is. He's a brilliant footballer. He's had a little bad spell in 4 years. One poor spell at the beginning of this season.
They may well be in for him, Danny, but they're going to find it difficult to sell it to a respective owner for the salary demands.
Do you think they're overstretching their reach, Simon, his representatives?
I think you'll find
250 a week.
I think you'll find that he will comfortably find an outcome to get him where he needs to be. I don't think his obsession is
it depends
money.
Where you think he can land. If you think he can land in a top 3 side, then you may have that argument. But I don't see Mason Mount landing at Manchester City.
I think Man City are possibly one of the only clubs who aren't in for him.
Do you think he's a Man City player?
I think he wouldn't get in their 11 now because of De Bruyne.
So where would you add? Okay, if we're going to,
I think he'd get in United's team.
The bottom line is, Danny, are these people right? If indeed this is the case, to be asking $1 million a month.
No, I think that's a bit much. Yeah, I do. My feeling.
24.
Well, to be honest, there's not many players on earth I would think should be earning that.
And by the way, and neither should Saka be getting £300,000 a week at Arsenal.
I agree.
No, that's equally as preposterous.
No, I think when you start talking about those figures, for me, you're talking about the 3 or 4 best players in the world. But I know some players get
agreed.
That's where I'm at with it. So I agree with that. In terms of Mount, I think if you're talking from a footballing perspective, which is where I'm at on it, I think he gets in Liverpool's team. I think he gets in United's team. I think he'd play. He'd get really good game time at Arsenal, depending on how Xhaka and Partey stay fit, don't stay fit. He could play in the more attacking midfield role, play wide. Who else is there up there?
But why not go down the Germany route? Because it served Bellingham
Possibly.
extremely well
Possibly.
at a much younger age.
Possibly.
Where you're valued by a manager, and possibly Bayern can go to those levels.
I don't think he will jeopardise any move based on money, because I think he's desperate to play week in, week out and compete for trophies. That's my understanding of where he's at.
Well, he won't consider it jeopardising a move if he thinks he's worth that kind of money, won't he?
Well, no, you would jeopardise a move, wouldn't you, if you say, I'm not moving unless I get that much?
But
I don't
if
think
that's
that will
what he
happen.
thinks he's valued at, he won't see that as jeopardy. He'll see that as a fair outcome, and he'll wait to the end of his contract, come out as a free, and go then get it because he doesn't know when to pay a transfer fee for him.
Well,
So
Tuchel's
he'll
in the
get
hot
it.
seat in Munich. We'll see if Bayern Munich make their move now, because certainly the news over there this morning is that they are more than considering a move for Mount, who it seems his days are numbered at Chelsea.
Jim White and Simon Jordan. Monday to Friday mornings from 10 on AM, on DAB, via the talkSPORT app and on your smart speaker. talkSPORT.